The thing about abuse is sometimes it can be subtle. You may not even know that you are going through it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. If this is your first time, thank you for visiting. Thank you for clicking, thank you for your comment. Today I've got my mental health person back because there were things we couldn't talk about in the last episode or the last series that I want us to touch on, which is how do you cope if you're suffering mental abuse or physical abuse or any kind of abuse in relationship, which is domestic abuse. How do you cope? Not only how do you cope, where do you get help? And also, how do you remove yourself from abuse? I want to thank my sister for coming back. I want to thank my pastor for coming back, Pastor Sade. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate your time. You're going to talk to us again today. Like I said to you last time, she's a mental health practitioner. She's worked in mental health for years and she's got loads of experience with domestic violence people. That's why I think she's qualified to talk to us. So today she's going to talk to us about if this is happening to you, what do you do? How do you get help? And if you need to remove yourself, how do you remove yourself? Thank you, Pastor Sade. The floor is yours. Please.
Thank you very much for having me again. Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. When it comes to abuse, it individually is different. Each case is different. And the first thing somebody needs, and because it's different, the degree is different, the levels are different. For some people, the person that is committing the abuse may not, the first thing is to realize that there's an abuse going on. If you do not recognize it, you will not know that there's anything wrong. You will just continue as if this is life as usual. So, and if you are not educated enough about what the signs are, what it is, then you won't know there is a problem. The first thing you need to know is to know yourself as your personality, your character. If see something is deviating from it, then stop and question yourself. Why am I acting differently from my normal character? Am I a bit more snappy? Am I anxious? Am I angry? You need to, first of all, watch yourself. And if you don't know yourself, you will not know that anything is wrong. And that's one of the things that abuse take from you. It strips you of your self-confidence. It strips you of your self-identity. It strips you of your self-esteem. It strips you of who you are. So the first thing for anybody is to identify or to acknowledge that, wait a minute, there is something wrong in this situation. And that's why we encourage people, don't keep it to yourself. Not only are you suffering, the perpetrator is also suffering. And if you have children in the house, the children is suffering. Or if you have other junior, other minor people around that are witnessing this, they are all suffering. Because what you are doing is you are instilling a circle of ill behaviors. So you need to be conscious and be aware. So acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it, please seek help. For some people, it's a physical violence and they need to get out. And I know various cultures, various religious sects will tell you otherwise. But when you know your life or that of your child is in danger, you need to get out. Some abuse, it may just be a case of the partner sitting down and talking. Do you know when you say this affects me? And so communication is very key. The person may not know that they're doing it. If every time a wife comes to ask for money and he gets shouted at and snapped out and say, well, the wife doesn't work. He goes and asks, I want 10 pounds, for example, and he say, I don't have 1 pound. It's a form of abuse because we are withholding, and you definitely know you are, but you are trying to exert power. So he may not realize that he's doing that, or she may not realize he's doing something. So he's to bring it out in the open. Anything in secret is what prosper. If you feel you cannot bring it up personally, get someone that can talk about it. This is what is happening in my house. Should this be happening? Should this be happening? There is no secret there. If it's something that you can talk about and resolve it. Now, the aim is not to break a home. The aim is not to break a marriage where it's not necessary. What we want is to heal. By the grace of God, we are Christians. We want to heal the home. And if the person does not know that they're sick, how would they get help? And like I said earlier, everybody suffers in this. So once you acknowledge that there's a problem, then seek appropriate help. Your help may be to call the police. Your help may be for you to separate. Your help may be to tell your pastor or tell somebody that the perpetrator will respect and listen to. And please, some people will say, oh, I'm staying there because of my children. Staying in an abusive marriage for your children is not helping your children. From my personal experience, I had an experience of being in that sort of situation. It does not help the children. And if you are not a strong character that can shield the children and can try as much as you can to counter the negative effect, you will not know the impact on the children are old and adult, and it begins to seep into their own life because it gets embedded in their unconscious mind and it's rested until they're older because this thing starts to surface. And not until in a counseling setting, it begins to come out. Oh, I witnessed my dad did this to my mom. I witnessed this growing up. And you now begin to, in a therapeutic environment, begin to see how it connects. So please, whatever excuse, if not for yourself, for the sake of your children, when their children, seek help. Living in an abusive home is not secret. Oh, like I used to say to myself, marriage is between two people. I don't want anybody to know what is happening in my home. God say I hate divorce. Yes, God hates divorce, but God also hates you suffering. And so seek help. God hates you being a sinner. And so he calls you to say, come to him. So whatever it is that is going on in your marriage, you can still come to the Lord with it. Even if you're being saved, let God know into what is going on. Don't keep it a secret. Whatever you hide, that prosper. So that's first thing. Seek appropriate help. Now, for some people, the marriage needs to be separated for the man to get help and for the woman to heal. If that needs to be happened, nobody is supporting divorce at this stage. Have that separation and have your space. Because whilst you are going through that, I discovered that I don't even know who I am. Once I was going through that for the 22 years that I was there, I was totally, completely a different person. And it took me stepping back, to say, wait a minute, what is going on? This is who I am. This is who I am. And I need to go back to say, who am I? I've totally forgotten who I am, my characteristic or whatever. And I have put on this, because what I've been doing is fire brigade responding to a very, a very volatile situation. It is a constant, and you're totally mentally drained, physically exhausted from it. And so I needed to step back and wait a minute and say, what is going on here? And then I took stock. What do I want for my life? I then make a decision, you know what? I do not wish to return to this marriage anymore. And for some women, some men, they may need to come to that decision. And for some, it may just be for a period while the person ill. Now, where you have both of you willing to work on the problem, it's easy. But when you have somebody in denial, then you have to make a decision then. You may need to get counseling. You may need to get mental health involvement. There's nothing wrong with seeking help within mental health organizations. There's nothing wrong with seeking help for counseling, if just to talk about it. You see, when it comes to mental illness, unlike physical health, there is no open wound that we can say, oh, it's healing, we can put bandage on it too. If you don't deal with it by talking to get out the pulse, to get it out of your chest, to deal with it, for some people, you will be writing it out. You may read that you write it, but whichever way, you need to get it out. Otherwise, when you think, oh, is there, is this, it comes out again. And once you are stepping out, one of the things you need to, once you get in help is, you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive the perpetrator. Because unforgiveness will also keeps you under. It will keep you emotionally in bondage, spiritually in bondage, and mentally in bondage. You need to deal with it and allow it, but that's the only way to cope with it. To be in denial will not deal with it. You need to acknowledge it, and you need to get help, whatever that help may be.
Thank you so very much. I'm going to repeat what you've just said. You need to acknowledge it, you need to get help, and you might need to be apart for a while. Amazing that most of the time, especially like my pastor said, she said people in church settings or Christian settings, we kind of deny some things. Denial does not make that thing not happen. Denial probably just puts you more in danger. But if you acknowledge it, get appropriate help, and then there will be a solution. What can I say? Thank you so very much for the impacted knowledge. It may have been a short period, but thank you. I do appreciate, and thank you for sharing your life with us. Because sometimes people don't realize that there's more to life than sometimes their eyes can see. Emotional and physical abuse is the most dangerous abuse anybody can go through because it cuts deeper in the sense that no man can see it. I want to thank you, Pastor Sade, so very much for your time, for your openness, and I do appreciate you. Thank you so very much. If they need be, I would get you back because this is a very, apart from domestic abuse, mental health itself is an issue that single parents, double parents, any parent, but most especially single parents and people that have been abused or have lived in an abusive environment need to really understand how to deal with. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you so much. God bless you. What can I say to all these viewers? Thank you so very much for coming back. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the click. Thank you for the questions. And I'm sure with Pastor Sade's session, you would have questions. And I'm sure if they need be, she would come back and answer those questions for us. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for subscribing. If you're not yet subscribing, please do subscribe. And if you're not yet clicking the icon bell, please do so that when we release our latest video or the new video or upload or download it, you'll be the first to hear about it. Thank you so very much. But remember, wisdom is profit to the direct. So use wisdom, and in everything we do, the Lord will help us. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.